Two questions for you. The first one, just a general, how was practice today?
We had a really good practice, great film session. The high minute guys got off the floor pretty quickly, but we walked through some conceptual stuff that we needed to go over. And then the younger guys just finished with a scrimmage. But good spirits, good energy, and ready for another ball game tomorrow.
And then last night, when you consider that Steph, Klay, and Wiggins all had 5 3-pointers made or more, Steph had 6. Maybe Andrew was 1 point away from 20 points. You could have had 3 20-point scorers on the floor. This trio of guys, when you look at their potency together, do you see the idea of what could be coming down the road, how lethal this team could be, and the way that they're figuring it out together?
Yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, the beauty of Klay is he's a really easy guy to play with, and he's such a good shooter. The ball doesn't get stuck. And then, Wiggs is so good getting downhill. And you saw last night and for the last several games, Wiggs getting into that drive and kick mode, and then it flips. Klay's the one who's kicking it to him. I think those 3 guys are really going to be good together. They also match up perfectly defensively. 2 bigger wings, and then Steph playing the point. You've got a lot of options defensively in terms of matchups. So this is what we envisioned when we traded for Wiggs. But obviously, Klay's injury pushed everything back to now. But it's really exciting to see the 3 of them on the floor together.
Following up on what Kerr asked, I mean, even Jordan Poole, I think you have the stats pulled up on your phone, but even Jordan Poole was able to really get going. And so you add another scorer, and a lot of the conversation leading up to Klay's return was, how is Jordan going to adjust to this role? How have you seen him take to not only now coming off the bench, but also being able to coexist and still find his shot, sharing the floor with Steph?
Yeah, I think it's an adjustment for Jordan for sure, but he's doing a great job. We need his scoring and his energy off the bench. He's really provided that, the last couple of games. So he's settling into that role. Very different from, being a starter, which he was the first half of the season. And so he's settling in, and there's still some things that, he's working on as a young player that we're working with him on every day. But that's the formula. If you can get all those guys clicking and really aggressive and attacking the basket, looking to shoot the ball from the 3-point line, you got a lot of weapons, and you throw Otto in there as well. Damian coming off the bench. We're not going to go 21 for 36 very often, but the volume of shooters that we have allows us to play a lot of different combinations, and feel pretty confident that we'll find a couple of guys each night who will get hot. So it's exciting to see this coming together.
Coach, this morning we heard Draymond was speaking on a podcast. He talked about the power of being a facilitator, especially in passing and some intangibles in offense. So can you speak to the role he has been playing on floor, and now he's temporarily away? So how are you guys as a team making up for that?
Yeah, I think it took us a couple weeks to get used to playing without Draymond. He's obviously our leading playmaker, assist man. And we struggled offensively for a little while without him. It also came at a time when Klay was just returning and his minutes were sporadic. And so I think we've adapted now. We look much more comfortable the last couple of games. And it's fun to think about when Draymond returns, what we're going to look like, because we know the pace will pick up. We know he'll have the ball in his hands quite a bit, and that'll make our perimeter screening game even more effective. So I think we're getting a lot of good contributions right now and surviving well without him, but we can't wait to get Draymond back.
Hey, Steve, given your experience as a player and coach, when you look at some of the success stories with Dominique and Durant and Klay coming back from their Achilles injuries and even showing glimpses of what they were pre-injury, what do you think are some of the common themes and denominators that explain that ability to do that?
I haven't really given that a whole lot of thought, but I would just say, knowing Kevin so well and knowing Klay so well, the common denominator is incredible skill. I think what you worry about with an Achilles injury is, losing the athleticism, the speed, the bounce. But if that's counteracted by amazing skill, then it's much easier to make that return. With that said, I think Klay looks really fast and strong, and I would never be able to tell a difference in terms of how he's moving now compared to 2.5 years ago before the injury. So he's done a great job with his rehab. He's worked really hard, but the skill, being able to shoot the ball like he does, just like with Kevin, those guys are going to be great players, for a long period of time because of the ability to make shots and use that size to get shots off too.
In previous seasons, Klay might have been the barometer of how well the offense was flowing. Do you think that would still be the case this season?
I think it's too early to tell right now, but I will say the last couple of games have been his two best games by far, and he's just much more relaxed. And as he's relaxed, the offense has loosened up, and we're getting great shots now with Klay being patient. I think the first few games back, Klay was just being super aggressive, trying to get it all back at once. But he's really settled into a good place, and the quality of our shots the last couple of games has been really impressive. And Klay has a lot to do with that. So does Otto, by the way. Otto's floor spacing and passing and screening is such a great complement to this offense, and that's been one of the things that I've noticed is seeing Klay and Otto on the floor together. With Steph, there's a lot of playmaking and shot making there. So fun combination.
And then how have you seen Jonathan Kuminga handle the differences between game to game, where maybe in one game he's getting a lot of minutes, scoring a lot of points, and then in the next game, he might be on the floor but not getting too many touches?
Yeah, it's all part of being a rookie and figuring it out. There's going to be games like the Dallas game where it's loose and a lot of open court opportunities, and a game gets out of hand, and now you get a couple easy shots and a dunk, and everything is almost easy, the way the game goes. And then there's a game like last night that's tight, and he's got a really difficult matchup guarding Towns, and things aren't going as smoothly. And in a lot of ways, that game last night was more important for him than the one the night before, just because he's got to feel that tension and the competitiveness, but you throw it all into the mix of development. The confidence that he got from that Dallas game is great. The experience he got from last night's game is great, and every game, is just another lesson for him, and he's doing a good job of absorbing all that.
Can you think of another team just ever really that's had the situation that you guys have, where you have three guys like Steph, Draymond, and Klay, but then you also have these three guys waiting in the wings, and Wiseman, Kuminga, and Moses, and eventually that passing of the torch? But can you think of any team where there's been this type of situation?
Yeah, it's pretty rare. I remember when Jermaine O'Neal went to Portland, they had a really good team, and Jermaine didn't play for his first 3 years of his career, and he became an all-star. I remember when the Lakers drafted James Worthy first overall. It was a little different because, James had gone to North Carolina for 3 years and won a national championship, and was much further along than the guys are today. But, there are cases of championship level teams drafting a really highly thought of prospect. But it's pretty rare, especially to have, 3 lottery picks like we do in the last 2 years. So we're very fortunate. We're just trying to blend all that together and bring our young guys along the right way.
All right, let's do a couple on Zoom. Go ahead, Monty Poole.
Hey, Steve. How would you compare the contrast in styles between your backcourt, Steph and Klay, versus Kyrie and James?
Well, we've seen those guys both often in the postseason, and I think the styles are different. I think both of those guys are as tough to handle on ball as anyone I've ever seen, really. And I think Steph and Klay are as tough to handle off the ball as anybody that's ever played. But I think with all four guys, there's no weakness, James and Kyrie can both play off the ball and catch and shoot and play off of each other. And Steph and Klay can both put the ball on the floor and get to the rim and create for others or finish. So I think that the tendencies are different between the four players, but they're all all-star, Hall of Fame, complete basketball players.
Great. Anthony Slater, go ahead.
Yeah, you guys have had a couple practices this week. I was just hoping to get an update on what James was able to do or not do this week.
James has been ramping up individual workouts. He spent a lot of time on the floor this past week, and he's been doing well with it. There's nothing planned yet going forward, in terms of contact work, but the individual work has gone well.
All right, Janie McCauley, go ahead.
Hi, Steve. We heard from Andrew yesterday that his daughter woke him up from a pregame nap to let him know he was an all-star. And Steph discussed a pregame nap too. Did you take regular pregame naps and ever have one of your children wake you up with some kind of great news?
I always took pregame naps. I think one time my kids woke me up and told me Phil Jackson had moved me up from the 10th spot in the rotation to the 9th.
What do those pregame naps do for everybody? I know that's probably sounds really simple, but with the way shoot-arounds aren't as regular right now, does it give players a longer time in the day before having to get up before the walkthrough?
I remember when my friend Judd Bushler retired from the NBA, and when people would ask him, what do you miss most about the NBA, about playing in the NBA? And he said two things, naps and per diem. And I think that's pretty accurate. The pregame nap, I still do it as a coach. Your brain is so wired in the morning. You have shoot around. You're thinking about the game, whether you're a player or a coach, and you're amped up. And if you don't get a nap in, the game doesn't start till 7 o'clock generally. You can't be turned on like that all day. And so I think I don't know any player who doesn't nap in the afternoon. And as I said, I still do to this day as a coach. I try to put my head down for a half an hour, 3 o'clock or so, and kind of recharge the batteries before coming over to the building.
Thank you.
Right, Anthony, did you have one more? Your hand was still up, or are you?
Sorry, I just forgot to put it down.
No problem. Last one on Zoom. Christos, go ahead.
Hello, Coach. Hope you're doing well. Coach, speaking about Klay's presence on the floor, what kind of unpredictability bring to you on offensive end?
What kind of what ability?
Unpredictability.
Unpredictability. Klay?
Klay on the offensive end.
I think everybody knows about Klay's three-point shooting, but his ability to get to the rim is underrated. And I think he's also a great cutter. So, while people prepare for his shooting, Klay does a great job of cutting, getting to the rim, drive and kicking. there's a lot more to his game than just being a 3-point shooter.
Do you play Wordle?
I don't. What is that?
It's a game. It's a word game online.
Like Words with Friends or something?
Kind of. You guessed five letters. Don't even worry about it. It's okay.
Too complicated.
All right.
All right. Thank
Thanks.
you. Phil Jackson.